So let's talk about stupidity for a bit. Almost everybody went a little crazy during COVID, and people did different crazy things. But there was a very specific thing that happened in terms of people and money, and that was reflected in crypto. That was reflected in your business. It was reflected in almost every form of some asset. People were just going little berserk, and you saw highest amount of demat growth, all of that. What's your reflection? What really happened, and what is the current state?
Yeah, I think it was a culmination of a bunch of things. Firstly, I think people have always thought about money and like how to save better, how to generate more returns. But there were a lot of people who were sitting on the fence. Like a lot of my friends. I've been trading the markets till from 17. Like so there were people for the last 20, 25 years who kept saying, Nithin, I'll open an account, I'll open an account. And I'll ask advice from you. And suddenly, like 4 months into COVID, and all of these guys from who kept saying from 25 years suddenly started opening accounts. So people had the mind share. So probably one, people stopped spending as much, so there was more money on hand. Two was interest rates anyways had crashed, so there was always like how do I make more money from my whatever savings. Three was I think the most important aspect was a lot of greed out there, right? As in easy money. At least this whole theory that you can somehow make money easily is really what attracts most people to any asset class. And cyclically, every asset sees a bull market, a bear market, right? I mean, even real estate or gold or whatever, right? So yeah, this was the time for stocks, so which is, so there was, money. The first bunch of guys who came, opened money, opened accounts and invested in between March to June, July of 2020, saw money so quickly that, they went around saying, what, dude, it's easy to make money in the markets. And I think that just really triggered the virality of sorts. And we've been right place, right time, bunch of times in this journey. But I think the biggest, the most important time to have been at the right place, right time was the last 1-2 years. Right products, right initiatives, platforms ready to scale, and all of that. So yeah, so there was a lot of luck on our side. I mean, of course, luck, when I say luck, there was a lot of work that went through the years, but just being ready at the right time is really what luck is about, right? And so yeah, I think it was like a potent combination. But from last December, Jan was really when markets peaked, right? As in terms of momentum, in terms of returns, in terms of activity, not just in India, across the world. And while India has outperformed most markets, I mean we are just 4-5% below all-time highs. Whereas like you pick up the US, we are like 40-50% below. So we have outperformed. So we're still okay. But in terms of the activity, it's dropped 30-40%. In terms of new user acquisition, I was just reading an article which said I personally feel we almost hit a plateau in terms of the potential target audience out there. People with money who can invest in the markets who don't already have an account. I'm like, if the last 2 years didn't get them in, what will get them in? I mean, like, so it's unlikely that you suddenly have a large audience out there who didn't invest in the last 2 years who will suddenly decide to invest. And if they decide to invest, what is that event that will get them to invest? So in terms of my view, I think we were kind of hitting plateau in terms of people who have the money who can invest who haven't already invested. So yeah, so I think the next 1, 2, 3 years will probably be harder on the industry, and there are a lot of regulatory changes as well. A lot of changes made in the last 2-3 years have not impacted the business because the business has grown so much. But now that you have all these regulatory actions plus the business slowing down, I think it's going to have a compounding kind of an effect on the business. So yeah, so I mean, I'm generally like like what they call cheerful pessimist. So but yeah, but I remember back in October when he spoke also, I was saying a lot of pessimistic things. So I was proved wrong in a lot of these things. But I think it helps to be better prepared if you're generally thinking about the worst case scenarios of sorts.